All right, good Sunday morning, everybody. 11:01 a.m. on the 15th of February 2026. And just getting everything baseball ginning up. I know everybody's watching Olympics, but in my world, it's still baseball. So it's been a while since I've done comments about comments and stuff like that. So of course last Sunday was the Super Bowl thingy. So anyhow, go over a few questions. And one in particular, and why I have the question showing is so people don't think like, oh, I'm just trying to create filler. I'm not. This guy has a. I couldn't be arsed to type out a big answer, and it's a good question about action PC baseball, and if it's somebody who is new to the game and has these questions, I just want to kind of go over it. And there's always people. I mean, let's face it, in our niche, very niche hobby. Um, I mean, as much as I've been playing digital baseball for years, I didn't know about certain games. I've told the story about how I got into action PC baseball by watching our Red Sox fan and blah blah blah. Because to me, it was like, yeah, I have out of the park baseball and I have baseball for Windows. I don't need all these other games. Well, through friends and through whatever internet or then that's where I got into games like Diamond Mind and all the other ones too. So we'll start off here with Brother Jack Dawson because he's usually um, he keeps me updated every day with what he's going on. So he says, "Happy." This was 44 minutes ago. Happy 15th of February, and happy 15th of February to you, Jack. He says, just got done with game one of his 1901 Philly season on Diamond Mine, and honestly, not much to say, but low scoring final. The Brooklyn Superbas, two, and the Philadelphia Phillies, nothing. So, Jack does a lot of different projects and a lot of different games, and I'm really glad that he picked up Diamond Line Baseball. It's such a fantastic baseball game. Fantastic, it is. Not no None of the bells and whistles or anything. The customer service is can be good and sometimes not so helpful. But it's a really good game with a good community. Um, I just I would like to see them get out of their status quo mode. They did just release, and I picked it up, the all time great teams version 11. There's a lot of neat products there. They're a cool company in a way that they have make every season available or allow every season from 1871 to 1926 to be free. Their season prices, they have the classic past seasons and the deluxe past seasons and what have you. And their season prices run roughly about the same as something like PC Replay Baseball and whatever. But you get a really, really deep game that's still used by many people as far as for its accuracy and things like that. And with nice mods and instructions, you can actually use real ballpark images and stuff like that. So thank you, Jack, for the continuing daily updates that I get from you, man. It's awesome. And that's one thing that we try to encourage on the Discord as well is for folks that don't create content still, you gotta you know just let us know what you're going on. Just because you don't feel like going, and there he is. See, Brother Jack took your question first. So good morning, buddy. Great to see you, brother. All right, we'll get to this next one because this is about Action PC, so this will be the detailed answer. So, Coffee Nut Gaming Network, he says, love that your sponsor was Iron City Beer. So we did that on a during it was a pirate game, 1971, in that project. He said his first beer ever was as a young teenager at his aunt's wedding in Johnstown. So Johnstown, everybody's heard about Johnstown, I guess, because of the floods and stuff like that it had. Some nasty floods, especially the one in the 19th century. Because it sits down in this the geography and topography of Johnstown is interesting because it's like in a bowl. So all this water can run down in there. So yeesh. Saw a Bon Jovi concert there though. It was cool. It's some baseball field they have in Johnstown. And he says, but anyhow, he says, wedding in Johnstown, served by none other than Pete Vukovich. How cool is that? So it was a good friend of the groom who was helping out with the bartending. So imagine You have a Major League Baseball player that's helping out with bartending, or I mean, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So where we got the idea. So thank you for that, Coffee Neck Gaming Network. That's a great story. Um, well, one time I think I had a dude that like played some softball or something, help with the bartender. Never a major leaguer, man. That's pretty cool. So you're kind of royalty there, bro. That's from Mike Koss, a Blue Rose case. Um, Let me see. So Rick says, thanks for the broadcast. He says, always good to see some dead ball with out of the park baseball. Started watching around the fifth inning, but didn't have anything to add to the chat. I was watching the broadcast to learn about some players from that era I had little to no knowledge of. And I greatly appreciate that comment, because it really is about, for me, at least, having people have some, even some casual knowledge, even adding to, beyond the list of the usual suspects in 19th century and the dead ball era. I mean, there's, I would say, casual baseball fans will have at least heard of Ty Cobb and heard of Hannes Wagner. And maybe, Christy, Christy Mathewson, Walter Johnson, certainly Cy Young. I mean, yeah. But when you start getting to some of these other great players, and even guys, inner circle Hall of Famers, and then out to the guys that were Hall of Very Good, or maybe whatever that is. So I that really means a lot to me, Mick, because that is largely the idea of what we try to do here. However, the next comment, Backbase says more 70s baseball. He says, yes, for a year or two during the mid 70s, Comiskey had AstroTurf on the infield and natural grass in the outfield. No clue why. He says, we were doing a game. This was a 1974 game we did here between the Angels and White Sox. It was Nolan Ryan versus Wilbur Wood of eternal memory. And so I know Mike Silva, who does these ballparks, right? He's fastidious about these ballparks. And so I didn't realize that, right? And so about Comiskey having that weird thing. So I'm going to the game, and I'm like, wait, did Mike did he have a bad night and just put this weird kind of different color on the infield? What's that about? I thought, is it some graphic glitch? And then it did the pan around, and it's like, no, it's not a graphic glitch. So Back Bay, thank you for that. I had no clue about that. Why? Yeah, if anybody knows why, what? And I'm guessing this was a Bill Veeck thing. I don't know. Is Veeck still with the White Sox in '74? But that's just weird. Maybe I have to look it up, huh? You could look it up, they say. So Wayne writes here, this was 5 days ago. He says, Disco Demolition was July 12th, 1979. Now, that is a Bill Veeck thing. So you could get in for like a greatly reduced price for free if you brought your disco albums to destroy them on the field. And apparently the game had to be forfeited, and it took some minutes to minutes by meaning days to get the field back to some semblance of playability. Home team dugout should be on the third base side of the field. I agree. I don't know what I'm seeing, not only in games but in ballparks where that's kind of been switched around. And so in some games I have switched them so that they should be on the other side. So yeah, definitely get that. Let's see. So now he says the AstroTurf infield only was twofold, says Wayne. He says, A, to increase infield speed hits. Okay. Thought this would help with rainouts by protecting the infield. The White Sox had erected a fence inside the original walls to increase offense by making the home run distance shorter. We were talking about that as well, because one of the home runs went over those shortened fences. So that kind of makes sense. But I guess I can see that. But aesthetically, not terribly pleasing, gotta say. You've got the carpet on the infield and the grass in the outfield. Paul Fay says, remember when this used to be a baseball channel? That's just Paul being a wanker. Let's move on. Okay. People asking, where do you download it? So this one talking about Strategy Baseball. So where you can download Strategy Baseball is on the Ned McGreevy Discord, our Michael T. McGreevy Discord. So better to, guys, just ask if you're, if you're interested, putting in the comments. I know I got to get this up there for Arnold Hunter, and I'll send you the link. That's not a problem. So that's where you can get it. I'm sure you can find it on the Internet Archive if you want to as well. But I know that the version I have is virus free, Trojan free, whatever. So, hey, Alex, good morning, my friend. How are you? It's wonderful to see you. So secretly, one of the other reasons, like I like to do sometimes these Sunday morning broadcasts, is I know I can catch my good friend Alex. So great to see you, man. Fellow Pittsburgh Pirate fan, and yeah, we got some 1971 baseball coming up. So yeah, we do with the Buccos. So next person here, who this is T Cyber 2003 or Cyber. He said, would you mind doing a beginner sounds of the game video? I see different sounds, but I'm clueless how to apply sounds of the game and everything involved. He says, thank you. And he says, also 2 examples. When the Indians had a runner at second base for scoring position, John Adams used to play a drum. Everyone clapped at that very nostalgic. Secondly, I love hearing Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train when the bases are loaded. Thank you. So, again, he's doing this in Strategy Baseball. So, yeah, there's a number. A bandwagon fan you are. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I can do that depending. I know you were watching the Strategy Baseball one, but really, if you want to really do sounds of the game, it's Action PC and Out of the Park Baseball, and I'd be glad to do that. Absolutely happy to do that. It's pretty cool. It'd be a hell of a rabbit hole for you just to understand that, because you can find all kinds of sounds out there, and basically MP3s and wave files, and I can show you, it's basically popping them in a directory. In fact, oh god, so we've had people even try to do some kind of AI announcers or snippet of announcers. And it was a great project that they were doing in Action PC Baseball to try to get beyond that dreadful Microsoft narrator. And the only thing was the commentary came after the play, but I think it was great. I think it was great. And if that would prompt Dave Cook to say, all right, we really got to look at AI, and it doesn't even have to be it doesn't have to be a recognized broadcaster. You can, all kinds of cool AI programs where you can create broadcasters. So there would be something to think about. But yeah, I'd be glad to do that. And good morning, cousin Ken Castro. He says, wanted to drop a quick like before I head to the gym. Hope you received your starter book. I haven't been on Facebook, but thank you for that. I appreciate it, cuz so very much in advance, and I would thank you profusely again. I'll be checking Facebook later on today. So Ken Castro, the other night, the Heart and Soul channel, and have fun at the gym, buddy. Don't want to hold you up. And thank you a million times. They were just idly talking about this game called Ballpark Baseball, and I'm like, what? So, have I ever played GM Baseball? No, we can look it up here though. Aaron, how you doing? Aaron checking in from Turkey. How you doing, man? Great to see you. I'll check it out. GM Baseball. If it's on the web, I'll look. If it's on phone, I don't play phone stuff, man. But yeah, definitely check it out. I've never played it. Never played it. I like free, and it's free. Why not? Let me see. So then we have, of course, another Jack Dawson update, and this one coming from 2023. So Jack is all over baseball history here. 1876. He's doing 1876 Red Cap season. He says in the books, too many errors. No, not back then, my friend. Jack, in 1876, there were lots of errors. Eden says he's doing well. Good. Lots of errors. So they weren't wearing gloves back then. Field conditions were, baseball's still largely in its infancy, even in that inaugural year of the National League, right? So, nope, errors are normal. And again, newspaper accounts, even going into the dead ball era, they recognized, right? I mean, even with the introduction of gloves, they were small. Hannes Wagner and a number of the players from the dead ball era talked about that they would literally cut holes in the palm of the glove. And remember, the gloves that we have nowadays, and that we've probably had in the past, what, 7, 8 decades, even that far, right? Um, a glove from the 1950s, in other words, right, is going to be largely, it's going to be recognizable. But if you look at the gloves that, the guys like Sisler and Wagner wore, and whatever, and they would cut holes, and they were little more than just kind of two pieces of leather and then some sort of like down filling or something like that, and that was it. And so they would cut holes in the gloves. But field conditions were bad. You didn't have groundskeepers apart from people with the old push mowers and stuff like that, and they would sometimes give fans like free admission to the park. So there's not too many errors. Actually, if you're what I don't know what game you're playing there, Jack, where you got all those errors in 1876, but that is absolutely normal. I would worry, in fact, if you were playing in a 19th century game and you weren't seeing a lot of errors. I would wonder about, okay, what's going on there. So errors definitely a thing. And then just Wayne answering the question that we'd answered in chat, but we're going to allow Wayne here to answer it again. So I put the trivia question forth that night, in 1971, and this was the Oakland, or I don't know what game was this. I don't know. It was the Oakland Athletics, and but it was an all-time greats, right, or something. No, it wasn't. It was 1971. But I just said, okay, here's a little trivia for you guys. Why the white elephant? Because if you look on A's stuff, you're gonna see a white elephant, and so there were some good guesses, but they weren't correct. But then a couple people got it in the chat. But then, so just to remind everybody, as Wayne writes, John McGraw, the owner of the New York Giants, he's the one that's the reason why the white elephant has remained like now 100 and blah 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 22 years later, still with him and always will be. He says the owner of the New York Giants, McGraw had remarked. Well, so this time McGraw though is the manager. He's not the owner yet. He's the manager. McGraw had remarked that the Philadelphia Athletics had a white elephant on their hands, referring to the high salaries of the team's players and the cost of ballpark rental. Mack, amused by the comment, decided to use the elephant as a symbol of pride and a way to ridicule McGraw. The elephant became a rallying point for the young franchise and was integrated into the team's identity, eventually becoming the primary logo on the front of the team's uniform, which it was, if you look. So again, I love it, that we can talk about those little fun things in baseball history. Again, Coffee Nut Gaming Network says, nice to see Smile the Park again. Looking forward to them allowing you to let us in the new features. And then Wayne asking directly, not how do I download a game, but how do I find the McGreevy Discord? And I want to take a moment, and then I'll get to Alex's thing about GM Baseball here, and we'll check it out. So we have the baseball games on there that you can get, Pure Sim Baseball, Strategy Baseball, Old Time Baseball, player databases are up there. Mike Koss has done a lot of things that you can download for Action PC Baseball, and he's also done some great things for Out of the Park too as well. H Field, whatever. All these guys have put things up. The idea, though, is not to join the Discord to get free stuff. You can; it's there. If that's all you do, if you join the Discord, is download the free baseball games. They're, well, okay, have fun. At least you're playing baseball. But the idea is we're trying to build community. Nobody's making any money from it. It's just to build community. It's a place for baseball fans to come, maybe post videos about baseball, talk about baseball. Replays are doing what they feel about the upcoming season. Just whatever. It's pretty much free game, free range, if you will. So if you ask it that way, I'll put it in the Discord. If you ask where do I download the game, I don't want the Discord to become this platform of where you can just download baseball goodies. Discord's about community. So I will do that. So and then back base saying 70s baseball, yes! Exclamation point. F the Super Bowl. The entire spectacle around it is nauseating. You're preaching to the choir, brother. That's why I do what I do. And even though last week was a train wreck and everything, we still pulled it off. Maybe next year we'll make it smexy with music and everything, but who knows? So again, Jack, now 2014, Jack, how you can keep track of your projects is an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. And Mike's saying, glad I'm back in the business. So there we go. Pretty much caught up. Now, Alex says, um, um, for example, you got Hannes Wagner to play today, and he had the same skill set that had all the advantages of tasteology. Give me a stats, your take. So if you so my simple answer, Alex, is talent is talent. You know, and I'm going to use I'm going to use my favorite band is actually a as an analogy to this to prove my point. Okay, so the Beatles literally pioneered, blazed trails that even today, Lindsey Buckingham talking about, we still haven't caught up to them. So many bands, we still haven't caught up to them. So the Beatles had the foresight to realize that they wanted to push boundaries, but the only way that they had to push boundaries and try new things, which they did to absolutely crazy success, is to have a paradigm shift to look at the studio as an instrument, right? And even today, people really think about music studios as this is where I'm going to record my stuff, whether you're doing home recording or you're actually, you can actually afford to go to Abbey Road or something like that, or the record plant. So they already had that raw talent. And, of course, also you got to factor in George Martin as well. And once they understood that, wait a minute, the studio is another instrument that we can play. There, you look at what they wrote. Look at a song like Tomorrow Never Knows from 1966. You listen to it now, and come on, man. You can't, and this is not just personal bias. It's an amazing sonic experiment. John Lennon's voice is being sung through a Leslie speaker, because he had this idea. He wanted Tibetan monks chanting in one part of it because he was reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead. What does this have to do with baseball? Because great albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was recorded on a 4-track. The power I have here, just with all the music equipment, great, exponentially by leaps and bounds and powers and everything else. Just absolutely, the Beatles couldn't have even imagined. Remember, the considered one of the greatest albums of all time in rock was recorded on a 4-track. You guys, we got 4 tracks on the phones that we carry around. And I've often said that if you take if you could somehow with a time machine take today's equipment back to them, in 1965 and really 1966 when they're really starting to experiment. And it was actually Paul McCartney who was the guy who had his finger on the pulse of the avant-garde movement that's going on in music. It wasn't John Lennon. It was McCartney. He was the only single Beatle. He could hang out in the clubs. But you take that talent and you bring it forward. The Beatles would have been just as great today, even though the music industry is very changed. So what Ty Cobb did on the field, what Hannes Wagner did on the field, since we're talking about the Flying Dutchman, right? And the fact that, like, during a game, right, we've told the story a number of times where he gets spiked hard. A bunch of people standing around him, pulls down the old britches, slaps some mud on there and tobacco and all the other bullshit, pulls him up, finishes the game, then goes to the hospital and gets 23 stitches. All right, fast forward today, somebody, which they're not wearing, like, the cleats, right? These little rubber things and whatever they wear, and somebody's going to get nicked and they're going to be carried off the field and blah 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 blah. Different breed of person. But the argument, I think, is fallacious if you say, well, these players weren't as good as today's players, but if your reasoning is because they didn't have this and they didn't have, well, okay, while there's veracity to the argument or validity to the argument, and veracity in terms of looking at the facts, okay, yeah, sure, they didn't understand. I mean, you even look at some of those exercises that they would do in the spring trainings, or the fact that, the conventional wisdom back in the day was the big bat contributed to the home run, which it didn't. We know now, physics tells us, no, it's bat speed, right? It's bat speed. So, when they brought Honus Wagner's and Babe Ruth's bats to whatever World Series that or All-Star game that was, and most of the major league players would say couldn't lift those bats. And these guys were crushing balls with those. Imagine if you could somehow go back in time and hand Babe Ruth or hand Honus Wagner a Ken Griffey bat, right? Significantly lighter. Well, they've already got the talent, the good eye. I believe that the great players and that great talent, they're going to excel. The other argument is, well, yeah, but they didn't face the Negro leagues, and again, that's to baseball's eternal shame, certainly. But they still, even in that segregation, still had to face players who were good enough to make it into the major leagues when there was only 16 clubs. Because if you didn't fight hard to keep that job, you were going back to dig ditches, or if you were lucky, playing Class D ball somewhere out in Wyoming or whatever, and probably forgotten. So, you know what? I do not for one second buy the argument that these were inferior athletes. It was a different time. But talent transcends that. Again, that would be like saying, well, Mozart just isn't as good as today's classical composing because in Mozart's time, they didn't understand reverb. They didn't understand acoustic spaces. Nobody's going to say that with a straight face, that somehow, sorry, it's just not as good because it's old. There was a YouTuber here that talked about deadball guys. These were just plumbers. These were just carpenters, whatever. They're little better than the Sunday softball league. That to me was just absolute ignorance. If that was the case, why? They didn't face great pitching. Yes, they did. They faced the best of their times in each era, no matter what era you pick. Babe Ruth didn't get all of his home runs off of shitty pitchers. All right. Honus Wagner was stealing on catchers that had cannons for arms. Not all the time, but that's the same today. Barry Bonds didn't become the home run king, PEDs aside, didn't become home run king by feasting off of the worst pitchers in the National League and then later both leagues. No, he hit home runs too off of tough damn pitchers like Greg Maddux and what have you. So I think it's an argument born out of ignorance, not out of the facts. Talent is talent, brother. And buongiorno familia. This is Mikey says he's at work with a phone hiding for a few minutes. Nice. It's great to see you, Mike. Mike, it is so edifying to see you back. We got to figure out, though, how we can get your streams a little bit smoother, man. But I got to tell you, I don't know if you saw me writing in that chat because the stream went down. I'm so happy that you're playing Full Count Baseball. I hope you had fun with it. Seems like you did. It's a really good baseball game, and I still don't get why nobody is. Why aren't you downloading this game? It's free. And there's Paul. We already did yours. Oh, I remember this is a baseball channel. How you doing, man? Good morning, good afternoon for you. Actually, good evening for you. Good evening for you. So, good to see you, buddy. Sunday morning baseball talk, always good. Wayne, you figured prominently in this one. Yeah, you answered a couple really excellent questions and reiterated the white elephant one as well. So welcome in, man. Need to give you private video links. I'll go on. Paul, you're in the Discord. Can you, if you're in the Discord, you could message them to me there. If not, I will go on Facebook and find them. So thank you. And I will keep them private, not a word, not a word. So Alex, stats wise, I still think Honus Wagner's stealing bases. He's hitting the ball. He's talent is talent. That's what I think. So, can I give you exact numbers? No, but I think these baseball simulations we have are sophisticated enough that we can get a pretty good idea of how these players. I mean, imagine if somebody had told these players, okay, look, that exercise you're doing is more for building huge muscle mass. Baseball's more about you've got to go from stop to warp 9. And they didn't know that again. Babe Ruth, what would he do, man? Down 9, 10 hot dogs before a game and beer. Well, not so much beers, but the hot dogs and whatever. But imagine if, not that Babe Ruth would have listened, but if somebody would have said, Jidge, as they used to call him, Jidge, all right, look, lower carbs, protein, wind sprints, the whole thing. Branch Rickey kind of understood that as he was revamping the minor leagues and creating Wilbert Robinson earlier than him even. So, yeah, I will always defend, and I know, look, it's whatever, but do I, I don't think, I mean, if you're going to say the game is superior only because, no, the same way as the space shuttle is superior to the Wright brothers plane at Kitty Hawk. So there's my take on that. Can I post a link to the Discord? You're not as PC literate as you used to be. Yep, I can do that for you right now. And then friend everybody, Beatles Eternally, and all of those, all of us who are in there. That's the way to do it. And great community, and you get free baseball games. See, notice and you get free baseball. Oh my God, there's Bernie. I'm so behind on everything. I'm sorry, guys. All right, let me do this copy, and we'll jump off of that. And there we go, Wayne. It is. It'll be in the chat there in a second. Okay, there it is. All right, so now we get back to this is going to be more focused. And again, I wanted to show you the guys this comment because I don't want anybody thinking, oh, Beatles just wants to put on some content. But before that, let's check out this. Is it Baseball GM or GM Baseball? Let me go back here again where Alex. Baseball GM. Okay, Baseball GM. You're welcome, Wayne. Looking forward to, again, frenemies. Beatles Eternally, one word, not case sensitive. Okay. Let's look at this Baseball GM game because I'm always looking for, I guess it's Baseball GM Simulator. Is that what it is? We got Zen GM Baseball, GM games. Oh, geez, God. Alex, I don't know if you actually have a link. Let me pull this over here. So let me just do Baseball GM as one word, and let's see if it comes up like that instead of that. A Baseball GM Simulator free. Is this it? Zen. Okay, thank you. All right, let's check it out, guys. Oh, I have seen this before. Yeah. So, I should have brought this up in Brave browser because ads. Okay. So, what's the deal? Leagues, new league, exhibition game, tools, help, log in, register. So, exhibition game. What can you do here? I need to create some leagues. So, if we go to a new league, League One. So, let's do this. Let's see what it does, huh? Paul says, we never think that Beatles or channels is part of our life. Good God help you, man. He's doing a ballpark video in the next 2 weeks. Nice. For me. Great. Thank you. All right, let's pick 19. Wait, what's this? Atlanta Gold Club. What? Oh, so does this use real players or not? Because I mean, I know they can't use the real names. Let's see. Let's go to 1971. No, let's go to 1917. Actually, because I'm curious about something. Okay. Okay. No. Okay. So customize. What does this do? The Baltimore Crabs. All right. So at this point, I'm just adding teams, and I guess I'm bringing in players. Let's look at the manual because I'm being an idiot here. All right. So Zen GM Baseball is a completely free sports management sim game. The general manager of a baseball team tasked with building your roster to compete for a championship while managing your finances. As of now, your goal can be whatever you want: winning the most championships, making the most profit, developing players from rookies to stars, etc. You can make an unlimited number of different leagues from the dashboard, each with a different set of random players. Got you. Okay, still could be fun. Yeah, I think so. From within a league, the most important. Blah blah blah. Play menu. Okay. Access with the big screen. Play button at the top menu. Any context. Okay. So you got preseason, regular season playoffs, draft, re-sign players, free agency, salary cap. Look at that. There's no salary cap, but they do have the luxury tax built into it. Um, there are player ratings, which look somewhat similar to Strat. Um, so, I mean, this would be cool. So, what I'm going to do, Alex, is I'm going to um, I'm gonna pop this on the old desktop. So Zen GM Baseball. I'll check it out. I've heard of it, but I've never messed with it, so I don't want to. It looks intriguing. Um, Again, I'm not a big fan of fictional players, but I will definitely check it out, man. That is for sure. I will definitely check this out. Let guys know, and if there's a way um, to do it. Okay. Highly customizable. Most of this is done through God mode. So there's lots of strategies or lots of variabilities that you can do here. So player attributes, ratings, and stats for players and teams. Some more information on players. Let's look at this. Okay, I see. So you can define players in a league file right here, and so it does give you a template. I think what you could do is actually, rather than just copying pasting this, just use the UI. Say, if I'm providing this template, please create Lou Gehrig based on these parameters. So this could be cool. So you could use real players in this. That's kind of nice. And apparently there's places where people have created some things. So customization overview. Pretty cool. All right. Lots of work here, but I'll check it out, Alex. Thank you. Um, So Alex says he download files from Reddit for real players. Oh, cool. Okay. All right. So let's look at Reddit. Yeah. Whoops. Zen GM baseball. Yeah, it would help to spell. Baseball Reddit. Okay. Oops. Okay. Pretty cool. Okay, these okay. Oh, this is like right. Forget Rocket Mortgage. Okay, there we go. So we are seeing Cubs, Orioles, a season recap of 1952. Pretty cool, man. This is pretty cool. Nice looking. Nice look here to the line score about it. So again, the Baltimore Crabs are 2201. I don't know if any of us will be around to see them. Okay, so create a plushie. So they got spam too. I mean, Reddit's like that, right? So cool. Thanks, Alex, for letting us know about this game. I'll check it out. Pro roster files. Okay. Nice. If it's easy enough to do, why not? All right, cool. So uploaded real stuff from Pocket Pen Run via Baseball HQ into it. Nice. All right, I will be looking at it. So, and it says play totally free. So that's kind of nice. This could be another fun thing to muck about with, eh? All right, let's get to this other question. And that will be, we're not going to customize the league right now. Come on, go away. All right, so CHM, I really wish folks would like, but you can't ask people to change their handles, but why YouTube assigns these random ones is weird. CHM55-CM8KN. Non-personalized license plates there, which is cool because I don't like them anyhow. So he's asking about Action PC Baseball, which is why it's behind this screen right here. Boom, boom, boom. He asks, does this game come with ballparks, managers, and photos? Also, it looks like you could do draft leagues. Yep. And allow the game to play without using the cards and dice and inputting results, correct? He says, lastly, the Legends option, which I think he misread that. It's actually the Legacy option. He said, does that mean it saves career statistics if you choose to play seasons? All right. So here we go. For those of you, you've been here before, you know about Action PC Baseball. This is going to be, Wayne, right? So many games, so little time. It's going to be a bit of a yawner, probably. If you're an Action PC pro, this is kind of where you can say, all right, I'm going to go have a cup of coffee, have a good shag, whatever. It's still Valentine's after all, so shagging is allowed. So the game comes with some ballparks. The game does not come with logos. It can't. Because this is not a licensed product by Major League Baseball. So DK Sports would get in a lot of trouble, at least at the start, at least a cease and desist order. But if we go to 1971, you will see that, I don't know why this is only showing the American League, whatever. Let's go in and out here and maybe. Anyhow, you can see these logos. You have to download them. But it has great community. So the APC community and also the official out of the park forums that people are creating all this good stuff. So these photos, you just download them, put them in the photo directory. It does come with a decent amount of ballparks, I guess, but not enough. So you definitely want to be out there and downloading. I know why it's doing that. There we go. Download ballparks. As far as coming with the managers, this particular game, I don't think actually it actually has managers' names in it and stuff. So when you buy a season from Action PC Baseball, so we'll look at the Pittsburgh Pirates here, and you see the manager is Danny Murtaugh. So, and if I go into manager, it's gonna there's I can look at all the settings here, um, you know, for, but again, all customizable. Now, in this game, I don't know of any way that you can import managers the way you could in Pure Sim Baseball and Strategy Baseball. So you're kind of, this is where you're going to go in and kind of get your hands dirty, but there's lots to do. Lots to do. The legacy mode that you were talking about is something that actually is one of the reasons why I'm doing this 1971 project. Is you can begin a season as long as you own the season, because you got to buy seasons for this game, unlike out of the park baseball, but they're worth it. And so Once we reach the end of 1971, right, we hit legacy. You have to complete this first season, though. And what you do is you go roll to new year. You got Admiral rookies from 1972, and then you've got to put them on the proper teams. And then you're just going forward. This is similar to the career mode of play. I'm sorry, and out of the park baseball. So that's what this is. The one talking about compiling stats is where you set up this thing, the encyclopedia. So I can't do that right now because I didn't set this up beginning, whatever. But this is going to be the thing that you're going to be like, you're adding league folders to an encyclopedia and doing all this. This is a whole huge ball game right here to jump into. And Paul, this would make you happy. There's your CSV for working with. So this game will work. And look, you can have like a billion encyclopedias. So lots of fun. So that answers that question in a nutshell. So that's the difference. Will this game autoplay? You probably, I'm guessing you caught. All right, Paul, take care. Be looking, you're going to tune in the morning. Janie time now, watching Apt Pupil. Great movie, man. Enjoy it. Ian McKellen and I just think, again, what a role. So this game has two modes. You can use it as a board game companion, and you can, well, actually three modes. You can use it as a straight board game companion with manual entry. You can play it using its internal engine, which, by the way, is fantastic. Or you can actually play it as a hybrid where you're using the manual input, but you also can allow and decide by how much or how little the internal action PC engine will maybe go ahead and try to stretch a single and a double, even if your game didn't say to do that. This does track stats. In fact, I'm this far into this because you are, to answer your other question about autoplay, yes. So unlike a game like National Pastime 3, in which if you were playing a season, you had to play every game in that season, however many games there are, in that given season, you can autoplay as much as you want. So the reason these are two open is because this doubleheader between the Orioles and the White Sox, both ends of it, and both teams in contention have great matchups. So game one, Jim Palmer and Tommy John. Game two, Dave McNally and Joe Horland. So these are going to be the next games broadcast in 1971. Then we get there, yeah? And then in June, the Buccos will be tangling with the St. Louis Cardinals. The Pirates right now is the best record in baseball. But anyhow, there's even tools here. There's everything here. So whatever. What I would suggest you do though is if you want to watch some games, maybe in other words, you don't want to just autoplay. If you do regular view plays, it will play out the game computer versus computer. The way I do computer versus computer in this game is I actually will set up the base running coaches and stuff like that. If I just feel like playing computer, or if I'm playing on here, and I would rather just broadcast the game. So that's the answer to that question. And I think we got them all. Pretty sure we got them all. I hope. Yeah. So yeah, and this has a big thriving community, and it's a great baseball game. Mike says this has to be the roughest part of the year. NBA All-Star Weekend, hockey, sabbatical, Major League Baseball, just in the infancy of spring training, and the most boring right turn in sports, the Daytona 500. It's a lot going on all at once. The nice thing about being a baseball fan is, all I got to do is see what's going on in spring training. And Nick Castellanos given his release by the Phillies. I think it needed to happen. Castellanos was, he's gone. I just hope Bob Nutting doesn't get the idea of picking up Castellanos for on the cheap, because we're going to inherit that 20 million still owed to him by the Phillies. And I don't think we should have him anyhow. I've talked to a lot of Phillies fans, and he's been a bit of a cancer in the clubhouse. So Nick Castellanos, that's all right. Made $100 million. That ain't bad. And it's almost as much as I make at FedEx. A lot of nothing. Yeah. For a baseball fan, this is kind of like, it's like, okay, come on, So it was just this past week. The pitchers and catchers reported. Next week, I think we see the first some inter squad games and just the first spring training games. But this is like the long part, because I don't give a damn about any of this. Okay, so Castellanos signed with San Diego, so somebody else picked him up. So I guess if they're going to, he's gonna be on a tear this year. He's gonna be on a tear. Say they need to get Batty or Vientiane from the Mets. If you're talking about the Pittsburgh Pirates, yeah, I mean we still need one more. I do think we have a better team this year, but we're not going to contend this year unless they, not this year. But I think we're going to make some better noise. But we might have to face some hard truths about O'Neal Cruz. So Alex, I don't know if you've ever Vientos. If you've ever, so there's a great channel on YouTube called North Shore 9. I don't know if you're familiar with these guys. And their broadcast brought to you by Primanti Brothers. And you and I know all about Primanti Brothers. Good stuff, right? It's a great Pittsburgh Pirates channel, North Shore 9. You should check it out. And, they don't do like a lot of these sort of baseball club channels that are, all the goofy, garish graphics and stuff like that. It's just what you would expect. You watch them daily, so right? This is like hanging out with your Pittsburgh Pirate friends and talking Pirate baseball. And yeah, big fan of North Shore 9. And they'll tell it like it is, man. They'll call out ownership and everything. They are not Pittsburgh Pirate ass kissers, and I'm glad, because after Kutch speaking out against ownership, they're great stuff. Great stuff. Yep, North Shore 9 is awesome. So I know we have about 6 Pirates fans or so in this community that I know of. So guys, check out North Shore 9. Great stuff. Hey, Dan Harlan, who is not the magician, Dan Harlan. Welcome back. How you doing? So I'd ask you if you were Dan Harlan, the magician. It's a fantastic magician. But you're not, but you're still welcome, because this is not a magic channel. So welcome back, man. It's been a while. It has been a while. Dwayne Martz saying hello to everybody, and hello to you, Dwayne Martz. So need to find out how to get to the Discord. Oh, well, that's basically, I do this and I do this. So friend us up in there. I'm a it's Beatles Eternally, just one word. Beatles Eternally. Friend me. There's the invite to the Discord for you. Okay. All right. So you're not a magician, but you are a Bucko fan. There you go. So I think you're the 7th Bucko fan now we have in the community. Yay! We're catching up. We're never going to get up there as many Red Sox fans that are in this community, but we're making a good showing. Bucko fans are starting to make a good showing here, and that's great. So welcome back, Dan. One more visit, you get a wrench. So, and I got to give Paul Fay back his wrench. All right. I think that's pretty much it as far as the answering the questions. So again, for obvious reasons, Action PC can't have these logos included. But the way around that is you just go download logos, and you can find them at APC Community and the Action PC Baseball forums. Tons of logos. I would say for logos, probably APC Community is better. Gobs and piles of logos, whether you want, the official logos, like you see here for the Boston Red Sox, or maybe you want the baseball cap logos. You can also get uniform images that you can have showing up in game. So lots of freebies there. Just a fair warning, if you're a new person, right, you're getting into Action PC Baseball, even if you don't go all in and buy everything, which is not cheap, but but you're going to find that your DK Sports data directory is going to explode. Because you're going to have a lot of stuff in there, but it's all goodies, all kinds of goodies. You can join La Familia, says Mike, and we can meet with the hazing community. We'll make them feel welcome in the Familia way. See, usually sleeping on live, but you're welcome. Wayne is a long-suffering White Sox fan. You wouldn't have been suffering last night, Wayne. So Blue Rose case, Mike Koss has suggested, because we're doing the 1904 World Series, right now. It never was, but I offhandedly mentioned, hey, maybe later down the line we'll do something with 1994, because I've always wondered, I believe the Expos would have made it in the National League. So and we were talking, it's like, okay, who should really do this? And the Texas Rangers, right? We know about how the American League West was. It was pretty pathetic. They were on top of the American League West that year when the season was cut short, but they were below 500. So Mike suggested that we do what he's calling a play-in between the 1994 Chicago White Sox and the 1994 New York Yankees, and they absolutely did a number on the Yankees last night. So they're leading the 3-game series right now, 1-0, or one games to 0, whatever. So the winner of that will meet the Montreal Expos in the 1994 What If World Series. But you would have been very happy with your White Sox that night. Well, that was last night. Jeez. All right, I gotta pop out these comments here, or I'll miss them. I don't want to miss comments. What you guys talk about is important. Yeah, they did. Oh, thank you, Dwayne. So sportslogos.net. Let's check it out here. Let's check out sportslogos.net. I didn't know about this one. So this is another thing about this community, Dan, is you come on, you in the community, whether it's a Discord, you come to the broadcast that that all of us do, and you're going to find all kinds of cool stuff. Wow, pretty cool. I'm going to look at the only one that matters, of course. No, I don't want to download Google AI mode. I keep forgetting to bring these things up in Brave browser. Good God. National League, NL logos, but oh God. All right, you know what? This is going into Brave browser. Hang on, because I hate this shit. So hold on. Where's Brave? Be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave. There we go. Brave has no ads. Look at that. There you go. So this is really cool. All right, let me get the comments back again. All right. Wow. All right. So Wayne says this is Chris Creamer's site. Okay. Or Creamer. So pretty cool. Let's look at Alex. Let's look at Alex, Dan, and Al. Let's look at our Pittsburgh Pirate logos. Sweet. So there you go. And you can just, get the logos however you want to get them. Wow, look at this, man. Look at this. Even it's got the ballpark logos, and wow. This is really cool. Uniforms. This is fantastic, man. Yeah, this one's going to get because you can never have too many logos, right? For heaven's sakes, man. Boom. So we're just going to do this for right now, and then I'll put them in a logo, or put them in a shortcuts folder later. Wow. The other sports you guys can check out. I really am. I don't care about those. But wow, pretty neat. Negro National League logos, because we're going to start doing some Negro League baseball on the channel here too. So look at this, man. Doesn't have everybody yet. In fact, two clubs Conspicuously missing right now are the Homestead Grays and the Pittsburgh Crawfords. But what a great start for the Negro National League, Federal League. Again, I'm not expecting tons here, but boy, to get all this for the American League, so good stuff. Thank you, APC community. Also, again, great for action PC baseball. Whatever you're, we'll leave Brave up here in case we've got to bring up some more stuff as people are talking. And let's bring action PC baseball back up. Let's see if there's anything else we need to address on this excellent game. No, it's great. You should buy it and then go download stuff. We've shown many times how many. There's a lot of freebies in this. There's a lot of great products, a lot of sales, the best damn customer service in the industry in terms of digital Sims. These guys are great. This is a game that I unreservedly, enthusiastically recommend. You buy from them, man. I mean, you've got like, yeah, your Stros are in first. They are. How about that? So San Francisco, welcome in, brother, to Seattle. San Francisco grossly underperforming. Look at that, 5 games under 500. Yep. So your Stros 5 games lead up. So the only dogfight right now, really, and again, we're on May 31st. So the Yankees and Detroit kind of fighting things out there in the American League East, and Baltimore just 5.5 out. But everybody else kind of pulling away. But seeing San Francisco down there is weird. Not sure we could probably go in and do some deeper analysis, see what the hell is going on with San Francisco, because they're not getting it done. Because they should finish first. While I'm looking at this is going to be a segue tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern. Of course, it'd be tonight if it's p.m. Whatever. On this channel, it would be Bernie Strom and I with Diamonds and Dice podcast. And tonight we're going to be talking about Great Expectations. So join us if you can and bring your thoughts. We need them because while Bernie is capable of thought, I am bereft of all cognitive processes. I really am. So I'm sorry I've never attained the lofty heights of synthesis and analysis in the throughout Bloom's taxonomy. So mea culpa, gentlemen. But Bernie's got us. He's got us hooked up. Let's do this up. Let's see. Real versus replay is what we got to look at here. Yeah. So just again, we got to see who's underperforming, right? So this is a great feature in Out of the Park Baseball where you can look at what they actually did and what they're doing in your replay. And Bobby Bonds right now, so we're in May, we're about to go into June, and Bobby has 3 home runs, and he had 33 actually in 1971. So Dick Dietz with 19 home runs, he has yet to homer. He has yet to pop one. So, I mean, there's a little bit of power. So the Giants are not getting it done offensively. If we look at home runs, averages, so they're just underperforming with a few exceptions. Let's see what the pitchers are doing here really quickly. So I love how you can track what's going on in this game versus the actual season. So the pitching staff, it seems they're kind of they seem to be on pace. They look like they're having some offense issues. So let's look at their let's look at replay stats here and let's see. So Marichal 4-7 start. Juan Marichal The ace of this 1971 Giants team was actually 18-11. So, um, yeah, wow. So that's what's going on with them. They're just not hitting the ball, man. They're not hitting the ball. They're not hitting the dingers. Now, again, I mean, a lot of these you've got to extrapolate. So, I mean, Bobby Bonds, I think, does hit 33 home runs, but it's just that production is not coming out here right now with them. So, in the entirety of the 1971 season, you have what, 5 players who are hitting double digits in home runs. And right now, as we go into June, so 2 months into the season in 1971, Bonds is the only one in double digits. And kind of weird to see, like Ken Henderson down here, for instance, or not Ken, yeah, Ken Henderson, 15 home runs. He has 4 right now. So I mean, they're going to meet their pace, but they need to kind of, I don't know, man. They're just not doing it. They're just not doing it. So kind of way to look at it. But Houston seems to be doing it all right, man. They're doing it all right. So, um, yeah, everybody looks to be, there's a good pace going on here. Um, but I suspect here we're going to see some good pitching. Um, and let's look at their replay stats. So Don Wilson, an 8-0 start to the season. Ken Force is 4-1. Denny LeMaster, they're 2-1. ERA. Don Wilson is having like a legendary year here in this project here. Look at that ERA over, right? He's 8-0. He's had in 11 starts. He's got a 1.87 earned run average. Holy shit. So is he overperforming? I think so. Still, that's a respectable year though. A 2.5 earned, 4.5 earned run average. His ERA plus is in here somewhere, but ERA of 2.45. That is not bad. 18 complete games, 16-10. If you get somebody now going 16-10 with 18 complete games and 2.45 earned run average, you couldn't pay this dude right now. So, yep, Astros doing a good job so far. Oakland is playing tough. I don't have interleague play turned on here for obvious reasons, although it would be fun to see. If it doesn't turn out that it's going to be the Pirates and the Orioles, and the Orioles right now 5.5 out. I'd love to see the Pirates and the A's lock up. I think that would be a great World Series. So that's pretty much it. Let me check here. I think we've been on way too long already. Yep, we've been on about an hour. That's good. Right? That's good. So, the other comments that I want, the things I want to discuss is, I'm not about like just doing things for the sake of, but I'm trying to look for a balance in what we do. And so, if you guys could think about it, let me know in the comments. And I know one will be a little less talking Beatles, and I get that, but I'm talking about right now. There seems to be kind of some people really liking seeing 1970s baseball. Others are liking, the return of dead ball baseball. Let me know how you'd like me to mix things up. I'd like to try to, and again, it's not about channel building. It's about community building. I'm never going to monetize this thing. But I want people to really have a place in this great community where it's a little bit more of a loose structure, to have some fun, but also maybe catch a little bit of the baseball that you love and you remember, the baseball that's in your wheelhouse. If you're a student of this game's great history, let me know what you like. I can't, there's no way I can anticipate that. And I know some creators, no matter whether it's baseball or not, they'll say, well, I'm just going to play what I like. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think that, for something that has such a rich history and so many great stories, Why not? Why not mix it up, man? Why not mix it up? So Tessie Expo says, I know literally nothing about the dead ball era. It's cool to learn the history. I had no idea how massive and cavernous the fields were. I love that. And for me, I'm learning because I'm not, you know, it's flipped a switch on me. I probably can't name a lot of players like just off the top of my head that played in 2024, but I can name probably 75% of the people that played in 1924. So, it is about that education and fun. So Dan says just got out of the park 26. Looks immense. It is. It is. And 27 is even bigger. It's not out yet. But welcome to the Out of the Park 26 family. It's my favorite baseball game by a micrometer over this one. And just a micrometer, literally. It's a great game, man. I've done a bunch of tutorials. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. Out of the Park. Daniel, let me know. We got a great community here. Lots of stuff. That game is dizzyingly deep. And yeah, so it is immense. Don't let it freak you out, though. If this is your first time with Out of the Park baseball, I know the old saying, just throw somebody in the deep end, they'll learn to swim. That's not so much a good thing with Out of the Park baseball. My suggestions for people new to the game is to maybe just to be able to get around a little bit is pick your favorite season in baseball, since they're all included, and try with the drive to the pennant mode, because that gives you can move around and it keeps you focused. You can only manage one team. Then at the end of your drive for the pennant season, you can choose whether you want to play a strict replay, a career mode, or any of the number of leagues that they have. Out of the Park 27 is going to be bringing difficulty levels. Oh, Dan, you're set, man. Baseball for Windows, Action PC, and Out of the Park. So is this your first time with Out of the Park baseball? So the game came out initially in 1999, ran in a DOS shell on Windows. And boy, has it come a long way. And, again, we're seeing now the introduction of dynamic weather patterns, which not just window dressing, they do affect the game. Okay. Oh, so for both of these games, so for Action PC and Out of the Park baseball for Windows for a long time. So Daniel, I'm gonna flip the tables and ask you a question here, brother. So I have a lot of ballparks for baseball for Windows. I love the game. I love it. Do it a lot on this channel. But I'm looking at the instructions for like making your own ballparks, and I don't know what I'm missing, because there's quite a few ballparks that APA doesn't offer. And I've tried creating ballparks in that game, and I cannot make sense. Like there's something in the directions I'm missing. If you have any experience trying to create ballparks for baseball for Windows, I'd sure appreciate some pointers, man. I really, really would, because I'd like to get some of these Mike Silva ballparks into baseball for Windows for the clubs, that, right, for the parks that aren't existing. So you never made your own either. Oh my God. It's crazy. If you've ever read the directions, you can see them. A couple people posted instructions on the Delphi forums. And I'm like, what? And I'm following the steps backtracking 3-4 times. There's one thing that's got to be missing from those instructions. So, oh my God, it's crazy. But yes, your baseball Windows for fan, man. People like discount that game, and they really shouldn't. It's a deep, deep baseball game. Pretty damned accurate. And but I think people just look at the Ernie Harwell thing and say, "Oh, nice gimmick." And I'll have a lot of people say, "Yeah, I used to play that, and then I moved into Action PC or whatever." But it's still a very, very viable baseball game. It always will be. Bernie, you ready for 10 o'clock tonight? I hope so. I'll send you a link about 10 minutes beforehand. You're in 5 APA leagues. Oh, cool. That is super cool, man. Are these like more modern leagues? You guys, or is it kind of mixed up what you're doing? Um, I just get stoked to be able to talk to another Baseball for Windows fan. I love it. Top top tier, S tier, S tier. And now you got into two action PC leagues. Oh my god. So Dan, have you, so you picked up 26. Um, what a great way to jump into this monster game. And this is immense too. The only difference is it doesn't come with all the seasons, so you can. But you got all this kind of stuff going on up here, but then you got all this here. This is a complex game as well, but so much fun. Easier to This one's in some ways easier to work with than out of the park baseball. In some ways, it's a little bit more difficult. Um, this one not as good, I think, in setting up. To set up a World Series in this game, I actually have to pull in the teams, do them, blah blah blah. 3-4 clicks in out of the park baseball, and you're ready to rock with the World Series. They're both pretty equal in working at the team level. If you wanted to do like that kind of what if league, player level, um, player level. I used to say that this trumped it, but now I've got to say that this still does, but it's not a big jump. But I would say in the player level, this is still a little bit easier to work with. It has some unique collections that few or no other baseball games have too. Baseball history collections are must buy. If you buy Action PC Baseball, you got to get the baseball history collection. It's great. It's great. And, for something for doing for draft leagues or what have you, it's just such a great product. So waiting to see if Bernie says he's going to be ready for 10 o'clock tonight. 10 o'clock tonight as we can get into some title is just going to be, we're not going to have any subtitle, just great expectations. Very, very motivated. So, all right. I think we've answered. Oh, we can. Now we're just chin wagging here. Now we're just chin wagging. And if you guys want a 1971 game, we can do that today. So what are we talking about at 10 o'clock? Great expectations. So I'll give it, it's not so much a spoiler. So with baseball simulations, so this is going to be, both sides of are going to be both cards and dice and digital, but it's going to apply more largely to digital because it's just easier to set up draft leagues and what if leagues in a digital format because you're not having to deal with scads of cards. But what Bernie and we're going to talk about, what are your expectations as more and more people are now playing what if leagues? I mean, Randy Johnson, we can have Randy Johnson face Babe Ruth, and we can go to park eras, and we can do this and that, and ballpark effects and year effects and whatever. But we'd like people to just sort of just contribute, talk about what are your expectations going in to, let's pick a season that's kind of germane to this. Okay, let's do this 1950s all times franchise greats, and let's save it and let's look at it. So if you were to go into something like this, all right, and I believe I picked 1950s. So this is like, these are going to be players from all over the place. This isn't necessarily the 1951 Pirates, all right? But you're mixing and matching all over the place. So we know, like, yeah, there's New York Giants, better team, obviously. What are your expectations in terms of accuracy, in terms of all those things that you look for in a baseball game and in a baseball project? Because we spend a lot of time talking about accuracy in a season replay, and I sometimes think there's a tendency to sort of say, well, if I'm doing an all-time great draft league, or I'm drafting just from, I want to try to create a cadre of teams that are the best teams from, say, 1970 to 1990, but realistically these players never face each other. it's fun. But yet, what I see is players in these leagues. If you're playing in a good baseball simulation, and let's face it, I don't think any of us playing in really bad ones. You do see that these players are they're playing like pretty accurate results, and in a league like an all-time greats league, or right, especially in an all-time greats league. I mean, hitters like Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth and Rogers Hornsby and Chuck Klein and whatever, they're facing the best pitchers day in and day out. Whereas in a regular season, that's just not the case. But then, so what are your expectations? What are maybe some of the things that you've done to try, with understanding that, look, you've got an all-time greats franchise or whatever. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. That's just a fact. It's got to happen. Just the math demands that. So that's, want to talk about that. But also, if you have any tips or tricks, what have you done in terms of especially the digital game that you play to make your replay maybe more exciting? Are you looking for excitement? Are you looking for accuracy? To what level of accuracy? Um, how much room for creativity do you expect a baseball game to give you in terms of, I want to create this, right? Out of the park baseball bills itself as the infinite baseball sandbox, and it's damn close. It really is close to that. So what do you expect going in? And I think it's an important question, because we all have criteria. I mean, if we were just going by graphics, nobody would buy Diamond Mine Baseball. And I'm not insulting Diamond Mine Baseball, but I mean, even compared to, how this game looks, there's a lot more fanciness going on here. And when I go into the game, this is what Fenway is going to look like, just natively. It's ready to go. And then out of the park baseball, right? So this is kind of your classic baseball look, and then out of the park baseball with that more streamlined. Um, Strat Max, in the way it looks. So it's going to be about what you expect. What do you like? So that at the end of your project, whether it's just a World Series replay, you're doing a full season, you're doing a massive, big, beautiful baseball bash like Mike Silva. Every team in baseball history from 1901 to 2024, and that is a thing, by the way. That's what we want to talk about. And it'll be loose. It's not like you have to come with these official questions. And Bernie and I never, ever, ever claim to have the answers and the correct answers. That would be terribly, terribly presumptive and absolutely untrue. So, do hope you show up. It's always fun. Just fair warning: when it's on Bernie's channel, it goes an hour, and Bernie is very good at shutting down. As you have already suspected, in this channel, it could go longer. If we get a good discussion going, I don't shut it down in an hour. I like, it's just Bernie. Bernie, his voice gets tired, and I can talk forever. So that is it. Let me see here as we watch viewership while we're in the double digits here. So that's cool. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to have a game. We can do a game right now if you want, on advertised game. We can do part of that doubleheader in 1971. We can play whatever you want. I don't know. At least in Action PC Baseball, I don't have anything else booted up right now. So, although I can easily do that. Just remind you guys, there's some really, really good free baseball games. Not only the 3 in the Discord, but also Full Count Baseball. Alex wants a game. We'll do a game. Alex wants a Pittsburgh Pirate game, though. I think specifically. So, we can do that. Pirates Reds 1971. All right. Let's switch back to 1971. Let's switch back. So, let's do it. I wonder if it'll let me play ahead and then go back. I don't think it will, because that double header, that White Sox Orioles doubleheader. let's see what we got. And if we go to play, it's probably going to yell at me, but let me see. Go to June 1st. So what we could do, I think we could just do an exhibition game rather than trying to find when they're matching up on the schedule. So how about if we do an exhibition game between the Bucks and the Reds, 1971? I got to briefly unshare the screen and reshare it, so I have game sound because I like the game sound in Action PC Baseball. So still here with you, not gonna desert you. No, 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 no. I wouldn't do that. Entire screen, screen one, share, and boom. There we go. Now we're back. All right. So we're going to do an exhibition game in 1971. And since we got more Buccos fans in here, we're going to play in Three Rivers. I'm playing Three Rivers Stadium, 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates. We're gonna have them managed as the home team, so you guys can make calls if you want, all kinds of stuff like that. So Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, and let's go. Let's go. We're not going to change the date or anything. All right. Buccos fans. The Lumber Company. So I prefer the 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates to the 1979 Pirates. I know the 79 Pirates really caught the imagination of the country and the We Are family and all that kind of stuff. But I like the early 70s Pirates teams. And really, except for 1973, the Pirates were just insane, right? Grim Dawn, blah, blah, blah. Nice for you, dude. Okay. 1972 Game 5 loss to Reds compared to Game 7, 1992 versus Braves, which is worse. For me, Alex, it's the 1992 Francisco Cabrera, Sid Bream debacle, only because, now again, we didn't know, right? Nobody knew in 1972, if you will, that we would lose Roberto Clemente on New Year's Eve. But, the Pirates had been consistently strong 70, 71. Things were looking great. Of course, they had a great season in 1972. Some baseball historians have argued that the 72 team was actually better than 71. And the thing is you didn't have, they're both tough. But you still had that right in the right, because the 60s the Pirates are building, right? So the Pirates, right, 1 year, and so I got to go back. Let me trace my train of thought for you. We had one good year in the 1950s. 1958, Pittsburgh Pirates finished second. All right. We know late 40s into the very early 50s, people came to Forbes Field to see Ralph Kiner. And after Ralph's last at bat, people headed for the exits. We were dreadful, right? 1960s now, we're starting to build. You start seeing the foundation for the Lumber Company teams in the 1970s. We're in the 60s, you're seeing Clemente and Stargell on the same team. You're seeing Steve Blass coming into the mix. It's starting to come together, and the great leadership of Danny Murtaugh coming into being. And why the hell isn't he in the Hall of Fame? I want to know. Inquiring minds and diseased minds want to know. So we rebound from 73, very sad season for us. We're in the chase in 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, when the World Championship to bookend the decade in 1979. But then we hit the 80s, right? And things start sucking. And middle 80s for the Pittsburgh Pirates are the gloom and doom years. I don't have to tell you guys, 84, 85, 86. And there was this sense of we're doomed, right? 1985, they had the drug trials in Pittsburgh. You had all this, what a terrible place to have it, but there it was. Pirates perennially in the cellar. Just so bad, right? Then we get back to the 90s, right? So the big Sid thrift trade in 1987. So we didn't have a lot in the 80s, did we? We had Tony Pena. Let's face it, we had Tony Pena. Let's be real. Pena gets traded to the Cardinals for Van Slyke, LaValliere, and Mike Dunn. Mike Dunn is a washout, but LaValliere and Van Slyke create this, or become the nucleus. And I'm always will be a great Sid Thrift fan, and the Pirates treated him like crap. So, yeah, that Moose Wild pitch, that sucks, man. So it's only marginally worse. But after Francisco Cabrera came out of nowhere and Sid Bream scored, um, and then I think for Pirate fan, I know for me at least, it was, oh my God, are we about to slide into another 80s? And we kind of did. We weren't I mean, we had a decent team in 94 with a really ridiculously low payroll that really overperformed, overachieved. But yeah, I think that I only call that worse because I think for folks like me, it was like, oh God, here we go again. And we were out of it until what, 2012. So it was a 10-year drought for the Pirates. That's why I say that's worse as a club. As a painful moment, certainly the wild pitch. But I'm still going to say that 1992 was more painful. I remember it. I don't remember the wild pitch in Game 5, but I do remember that it was dreadful. It was just dreadful, man. Um, Truth Hurts Wookie let us know that the Decades Baseball for 1940s on sale today for $28.60. 10 years of baseball for $28, and don't get discount 1940s baseball just because of the damn war. Dan says he was yelling when Bream slid across home. I know, right? And Sid still lives in the Pittsburgh area and does a lot of good charity, and Sid's a good guy, but that night so I was working. I that was the year I graduated from Penn State, and so I was also working part-time at that point at Petit Library. And so a friend of mine's calling me every half inning. Luckily, it was dead at the reference desk. Every half inning, we got this, but blah 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 blah. Going into the ninth, he's like, "Dude, I think we're going to the World Series, right?" I'm like, "Oh my God," and you're at that point, right? If you're a baseball fan, you say you're not superstitious. You're not a baseball fan. At least about baseball, you got to be superstitious, right? And I'm thinking, and so you're going to pray to every deity you've ever heard of, and you're going to first ask your principal deity, look, pardon me, this isn't heresy. I'm a baseball fan, and God, goddess, whomever gets it, right? And you're like saying the fastest novenas in the world, and you're reciting the Upanishads, whatever. And I remember that call, and I said, "Hey, Brian," and there was silence, and that silence still, I hear it today. And he said the words Francisco Cabrera. And oh my God. Oh my God. No, you were cheering. You were cheering, man. And you were saying we'll never win again. And you're right, Dan. I mean, and we had that drought. Awful. May at least hit play here so we can get started. 1940s really quickly. I want to get back to what Truth Hurts Wilkie said. People dismiss that decade because of World War II, but you're missing great seasons. Great seasons in the 1940s. And for $28 to get 10 seasons of baseball, Dave Cook, the master, once again strikes. The 1941 season is considered by many I'm not a baseball historian, I'm a student, but considered one of the greatest baseball seasons of all time. Had a book written about it. The 1949 season is incredible. 1942 still good because again we're just getting involved, and you still have players that through the duration of the war, like Stan Musial, are there throughout the 40s. 43 and 44, okay, they're kind of like the years, but you know what? You can have fun with those years too. But 1945, people were starting to come back. um, 46, what a World Series, the William Shift. 1947, the most important year in modern Major League Baseball. The color barrier is broken. 1948, man, you got those Cleveland Indians, tough team. And the last time they won the World Series, and again, 1949. Pick it up if you got a few extra bucks, 28 and some change, and you really got a fine decade in baseball. You really do. So your son cried, ran into the bedroom, hid in the closet. I think even as adults we were feeling that because I remember my girlfriend at the time. She was going to grad school, or no, we were both graduating that same year. That's right. She started grad school. I waited. Um, and she picked me up, and she knew she was a big baseball fan. And she said they lost, didn't they? I said, yeah, I can't talk. I'm in shock. I was in shock. And I will never forget Francisco Cabrera. I don't know what he's doing these days. I don't hate him personally. He was just doing his job. But more of the blame, I think, has to be played on Barry Bonds because the understanding is that um, Van Slyke was telling Bonds, you need to shade this way, shade that way, whatever. And Bonds basically said, yeah, va gustunad to Van Slyke. At least that's what I'm hearing. So we can't place the onus just on and the Braves won the game fair and square. I mean, I'm not going to be that guy to say no, we beat ourselves. I think where the Pirates beat themselves was the 1990 NLCS. We should have beaten the Reds. There was no excuse for that loss, except that Bonds and Bonilla choked through that NLCS. Another story, though, right? Alex rating his all-time or his Bucko favorite Bucko teams, not all time, I don't think here because there's some conspicuous years missing. So he rates them as 1972 Bucks. He thinks are the greatest Bucks. Number two, 1971, 73 or number three, 79. Number four, 1960. That's a fun team to play. The 92 Pirates. Yep. I kind of prefer the 91 Pirates a little bit over the 92 Bucks, but 2015 Bucks, I love them, man. I love the 2015 Pirates. Yeah. Quaid, is that was the Cueto year? Yeah, Cueto, and then drops, and then Russell Martin, boom. The '77 Pirates, good team, yeah. '70s were such a great decade for the Pittsburgh Pirates, huh? But let's not forget all the great other years. We were still good in the '30s. We won. We were in two World Series in the 1920s. We were one of the first great dynasties in baseball if you go back to the beginning of the 20th century. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Let's do this, and we're going to let the computer take care of the Cincinnati Reds. Let's play. All right, we're going up against Ross Grimsley. So let's do this and do this. And let's see if we're happy. And if not, guys, we can move. We're not going to mess with the Reds. So if you guys want to change this lineup here. So we got Rennie Stennett leading off, Clemente in the 2 slot. Sangi is batting third. Stargell cleanup. Robertson batting fifth. Hebner gets the start today. He's batting sixth. Al Oliver batting seventh. Gina Alley eighth, and Doc Ellis pitching and batting ninth. I'm kind of a little wondering do we? I don't know. What do you guys think about Clemente in the 2 slot? I'm a little kind of about that. We were starting Gene Clines. I would probably lead off with Gene Clines. So Bucko fans, speak up, or we're just going to go with the lineup that we got. So this is not using an as played lineup. It will in game, but we're doing an exhibition. So let me know. Let me know if you want to move Clemente down. I think Clemente should be batting third. I think Sanguin's got to go down in the order a little bit. So, but I don't know. I mean, this is fairly well optimized, I guess. But I'll give it a few minutes here. See what you guys think. Because I mean, it's not a bad lineup. I like Stargell and Robinson at 4 and 5, definitely. Bob Robertson, what an overlooked player he is in our beloved Pittsburgh Pirate franchise. In fact, in a lot of all-time greats leagues that I see or projects that I see, Bob Robertson is conspicuous in his absence. And while not a Hall of Fame career, he was a capable hitter, had pop in the bat, and was really, really important to the success of the lumber company. So if I don't hear anything in another 30 seconds, I'm watching my time here, then we're just going to jump in the game with the Pittsburgh Pirates lineup as is. Yeah. And then we'll just be surprised by the Cincinnati lineup. Quick editorial comment. I think that the Pittsburgh Pirates do not do well in remembering the storied history of the franchise. It took them till, what was it, September last year to finally commemorate the centenary of the 1925 World Championship Pittsburgh Pirates. It's almost like the organization will kind of give a nod to 1960, but really it's about, and yes, Hannes Wagner out there at home plate. That's great. We got Willie out there, Roberto. We got the statues, right? Those three statues, and three players that deserve the adulation that they receive. But the Pittsburgh Pirates don't really talk about the fact that, along with the Cubs and the Giants, maybe they feel it's irrelevant. Who knows? Were one of the great dynasties. They were. Look back and look at the Pittsburgh Pirates. We really don't start sliding like precipitously until the 40s. Tough team, right? Then we start bouncing back again. And now, though, as of last year, we have more all-time losses than all-time wins. And I never thought that would ever happen to Pittsburgh. That was always the cross-state. That was Philadelphia, the cross-Commonwealth. It's like, yeah. And we were for many, many years a better team than the Philadelphia Phillies. That's not being mean to the Phillies. It just is truth. All right, let's get into the game. So, boom. And I got to fix my sound settings. I'm sorry. There we go. All right. So I'm not sure how this is going to affect the season play, but we're really doing this just for an experiment into the legacy mode. So, but we'll go ahead. Let's play it anyhow. Welcome to the River Stadium for today's game between the Cincinnati Reds and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Russ Grimsley will go to the bump for the Reds, and 6 starts in the year. He's 1-4 with an earned run average of 3.64. This will be his third start against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and 0-2 with a 4.97 earned run average against them. He'll be opposed by Doc Ellis, taking a trip and never leaving the farm. 11 starts on the year for Doc, and he is 8-2 with an ERA of 2. This will be his second start against the Reds, and lost against them, and 3.38 earned run average against them. 60 degrees here in the city at the confluence of the three rivers. The wind speed 17 miles per hour right to left. And you guys, if you've seen games at Three River Stadium, you know what that's all about. That swirly wind out there. Let's turn off manual entry. So for the person that asked earlier, this is the difference. So you can turn on manual entry and play your Cards or Dice game, enter your results, or turn it off. And now you're playing Action PC Baseball. I just want to make sure that we've got our setup where we want it to be. We do not, and now we do. All right, starting defense for the Pittsburgh Pirates. In left field, Wilver Darnell Stargell. In center field, a man that I would argue should be in the Hall of Fame, Al Oliver. And in right, the great one, Roberto Clemente. Bob Robertson at first. At second, Rennie Stennett. At short, Gene Alley. And at the hot corner, Richie Hebner behind the plate. Manny Sanguillen, and on the mound, Doc Ellis. Pete Rose will be leading things off here for the Cincinnati Reds. Rose hitting 304 on this season. 13 home runs, 44 runs batted in. So I'm just going to give you those stats to give you context. But we're treating this as an exhibition outside the season. 0-2 pitch, and Pete Rose, strike 3 call. Doc Ellis coming with the heat right away. All right, 1 away now, and here's switch hitting Jimmy Stewart. He's batting left against Doc Ellis, and his numbers look like this: 232 average on the year with 9 runs batted in. So again, in the actual 1971 project, it's using as played lineups. These are computer generated lineups. All right, 1-1 pitch. This one tapped foul, and this will bounce into the seats. Count 1-2. Stewart straightens out a swing. Fly ball, medium deep into right field. Clemente in, Robertson out. Clemente will make the grab. 2 up, 2 down for Cincinnati for Lee May. 39 home runs in this project right now. 278 average. 98 runs batted in. Ellis has the signs from Sanguillen, and here's the pitch. Line drive over Gene Alley into left field. So the Reds get a runner aboard with Lee May. So let's check out Lee May in terms of speed. In 1971, stole only 3 bases as a season and has yet to steal one. And this project brings up Tony Perez, 269 average, 25 home runs for Tony, and 91 runs batted in. So not too bad. And it's usually gets real stats up here. In the replay, he's hitting 237 with 5 dingers and 22 ribbies. All right, runner on first, 2 down, top of the first and 3 errors. Count full. This one hit high and off the wall in left field. Lee May is going to score, and that is going to be an RBI for Tony Perez. So RBI double, and Cincinnati gets on the board first. Bernie Carbo now, Reds left fielder, and we'll look at his current rather than the replay. 234 average right now for Carbo with 2 home runs, 16 runs batted in. Ellis winds and deals. 3-1 pitch, and he loses Bernie Carbo. So Sanguillen trying to, with the glove in the hand, calmate, Doc. All right, here's Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench hitting 257 right now, 10 homers, 34 runs batted in. Perez at second, trailing him Bernie Carbo at first. And Ellis comes to the belt and brings it home. 1-0 pitch. And this one is this one. Let me see. What are they scoring this one? So this one gets past Sanguillen. Not sure if they're calling this a wild pitch. Nope, just a straight old ball that kind of missed, and Sanguillen able to corral the ball. Okay. So runners hold. Phew, that was tough. That was scary. Here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. And this one rolled foul, first base side. 2-1 on Bench. And hard line drive, but Gene Alley making a nice grab there at short. That will retire the Cincinnati Reds here in 1971. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, a half inning gone. Cincinnati won. The Pittsburgh Pirates coming to bat. Starting defense here for the Cincinnati Reds. Porkopolis, it used to be called back in the day. In the dead ball era, it's also still known as the Queen City. Bernie Carbo in left, George Foster in center, and got to get a better picture of George there. In right field, Pete Rose. At first base, Lee May. At second, Jimmy Stewart. At short, Dave Concepcion. At third, Tony Perez. Johnny Bench, what a legend, behind the plate, and Ross Grimsley, the lefty, on the mound. Grimsley, thus far, on the year, let's look at his record. He's 1-4, and he has fanned 13 and walked 17. Rennie Stennett hitting 308 in this 71 project. 0-1 pitch, bouncing ball to Stewart, and they do just get Stennett, as Bob Prince would say, by a gnat's eyelash. So 1 down here, and brings up Roberto Clemente hitting 303. in the project. 7 home runs, 3 triples. Let's not forget, I mean, Clemente got on the base paths. We Bucco fans know he could wheel. Steve Blass and Roberto Clemente beating the Baltimore Orioles in the 1971 World Series. Russ Grimsley deals with one down, 0-2 pitch. Soft liner out there, and Stewart corrals it for out number 2. Here's Manny Sanguillen now. 303 average. He's put 2 out of the park, 20 ribbies. Here's the pitch. Sanguillen, first pitch swinging high, pop fly on the infield. Stewart measures it up, brings it down, and the Bucks go 1-2-3. We go to the top of the second. Cincinnati leads Pittsburgh 1-0. And it's going to be Foster, Concepcion, and Grimsley due up from the 9 of Porkopolis. Doc Ellis has the sign from Manny Sanguillen. Here's the 1-1 pitch. This one stroked foul, third base side. Foster back in the box. Ellis brings it, 1-2 pitch, and this was a late called strike. So the curveball, umpire took a moment on that. So 1 away, here's Dave Concepcion, 209 average, a home run, and 11 runs batted in. Ellis deals 0-1 pitch, high fly ball. Clemente ranging to his right, tracks it down for the second out of the inning. Russ Grimsley, he's 2 for 10 overall as a hitter right now. Lefty in the box. Ellis brings it, 2-2 pitch, and look at this. Stroked into left, base hit for Russ Grimsley. Hit number 3 for the Cincinnati Reds. Back at the top of the order now, Pete Rose struck out to lead off the game. Here's the pitch. Rose will ground to Stennett, on to Bob Robertson for the 4-3 putout. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors. And we head to the bottom of the second inning. Cincinnati leads Pittsburgh 1-0. We will see Willie Stargell, Bob Robertson, Richie Hebner due up for the Buccos. Willie Stargell right now hitting at a 307 clip. He has 15 home runs, 32 runs batted in. In 1971, he would actually hit, by season's end, 48 home runs, 125 ribbies, and a 295 average. And I would take that anytime, and so will you. Grimsley deals, and Stargell, good eye up there for a change. Lays off that 3-1 pitch. Fastball missing up and inside. So brings up Bob Robertson now. Robertson thus far in the project with 10 home runs and 36 runs batted in. Bench sets the target for Russ Grimsley. Grimsley knows that Willie ain't going anywhere at first. He comes home with an 0-1 pitch, grounded to Perez, 5-4, but there ain't going to be a 3. Fielder's choice, Robertson aboard. And here comes Richie Hebner. So Richie hitting 279 with 7 home runs and 25 runs batted in. Richie also with 7 3-baggers. 0-2 pitch, and this one lined hard, but right to George Foster. So 2 down, and Bob Robertson not going to run on Foster's arm. Al Oliver now getting the nod for center field today by Danny Murtaugh. 4 homers, 32 runs batted in for Al Oliver. I really think this guy deserves consideration for the Baseball Hall of Fame. 0-2 pitch, Al Oliver, this one looking at one on the inside part of the plate for the strikeout. So nothing across for our beloved Pirates. We go to the top of the third inning here at Three Rivers Stadium. Cincinnati Reds lead this one 1-0. And Jimmy Stewart, Lee May, and Tony Perez will bat for the Redlegs. Stewart in the game flew out to shallow right last time. Ellis kicks and fires. First pitch swinging. Grounder to Gene Alley. Had to back up. It short hopped him. Had trouble getting to the ball. Gets it. But by the time he fires the strike to Bob Robertson, Stewart is safe. So Stewart does have 1 stolen base thus far in this project. Lee May is 1 for 1. Singled in the first. Ellis, running through the signs, has one he likes from Sanguillen. Stewart leads off first. 2-2 pitch. Fly ball to left. Willie Stargell on his horse tracks it down, calling off Al Oliver for out number 1. Tony Perez, RBI double that scored Lee May back in the first, giving Cincinnati this 1-0 lead. Stewart leads off first again. Ellis, full count, and he loses Tony Perez. So 2 Reds aboard, and Ellis looking for a double play ball here as Bernie Carbo steps in the box. Carbo drew a walk back in the first. All right, little wave of the bat there by Carbo as he settles in. Ellis brings the 3-1 pitch. Doc Ellis now has a bases loaded situation, and this is something you never want to see. Bases loaded and Johnny Bench. That, my friends, my family, mia familia, is mi familia, a witch's brew. Johnny Bench lined to short last time, and Ellis looking for something huge here. 1-2 pitch. This could be nice. Popped out to first base, and Bob Robertson has it. So Ellis can breathe a little bit easier, but George Foster, certainly not somebody to be trifled with either, but went down on strikes back in the second. Ellis working out of an absolute jam. Bases sold out. This is Senator Joe McCarthy's worst nightmare, surrounded by Reds. 2-2 pitch, and he does it. Doc Ellis coming through clutch, gets the strikeout, and it was a called strike 3 that caught the outer half of the plate. We go to the bottom of the third inning. Whew, now I can breathe. 1-0 still Cincinnati. The bottom to swinging around the top of the order for our Buccaneers: Gene Alley, Doc Ellis, Rennie Stennett. So Gino right now hitting 216. So Gino's kind of doing Gene Alley things, but he has 2 home runs, 17 runs batted in. So Alley actually on pace in this 1971 project. Grimsley brings it, count even, and inside corner. Beautiful curveball there by Ross Grimsley, starting to establish that inner part of the strike zone. Here's Doc Ellis also on pace. He's hitting 192, hit 203 in the actual 1971. 2 RBI for him. 0-2 pitch, and after all that, Ellis chases one out of the strike zone, a curveball. So Grimsley working the hammer, working that bender on our Bucks. Back at the top of the order now for second baseman Rennie Stennett. Grounded to second back in the first. Grimsley lets it go. 1-1 pitch. This one is twisting foul, and this makes it into the right field bullpen. I always thought that was cool that they had the bullpens right there. So if you were, later in the game, you could get up out of your seat and run over and look who was in the bullpen. You could do that down the third base line too. Kind of cool. I like that you could see ball players in the bullpen instead of whatever it is. Instead of swimming pools out in the outfield, bullpens are much better. All right, Rennie Stennett back in the box. And 1-2 pitch. And line drive, base hit into left field. Carbo plays it on a hop, fires into Concepcion. All right, so Rennie is aboard. Rennie with just 1 steal. Here's Clemente. He has nothing for 1. Here we go. Throw down. And Rennie Stennett dives back. Good snap throw there by Bench trying to catch Rennie sleeping. 1-0 pitch. And stroke solidly to center. Base hit. Clemente coming through clutch. Runners at the corners now for the Corsairs. And here's Manny Sanguilla now, nothing for 1. Willie Stargell waits on deck. We need Sangy to get on, and we need, what does Al say, a bloop and a blast? That's what we need. Grimsley deals, 2-1 pitch, high fly ball to center. Foster charging in, makes the grab. So the Pirates allow an opportunity to go by the board. We head to the top of the 4th. Cincinnati Reds lead the Pittsburgh Pirates here in 1971. Dave Concepcion, Ross Grimsley, and Pete Rose due up. Concepcion last time up, flew out to right. Ellis ready to go. 0-2 pitch, fly ball to center. Oliver at the track, at the base of the wall, makes the grab. 1 up, 1 down. Ross Grimsley singled last time up. Ellis deals 1-2 pitch. 2 bouncer to Hebner at the hot corner. throws the strike on to Bob Robertson. 2 up, 2 down for Cincinnati. Back at the top of the order, and Charlie Hustle struck out and grounded out this game. Ellis deals, and this time base hit, played on the hop by Roberto Clemente. We have an injury in the game by Pete Rose, but of course he's going to stay in the game. Pete Rose could jump through through a plate glass window and have like 9-inch nails on the other side. And I don't mean the band, although maybe, and stay in the game. So Charlie Hustle aboard at first, 2 down now for Jimmy Stewart. And does another angel get its wings? Infield single back in the third. 1-2 pitch, lined up the middle, base hit. Oliver with a throw, but that's going to hit the cutoff man, Gene Alley. So runners at the corners. Here we go again. Doc Ellis making me really nervous here. Another Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher that used to make me nervous was Bob Walk. Bob Walk, you knew usually within the first 2 pitches whether Walkie was going to be on or not that day. Just he had that kind of, and I love Bob Walk, great baseball analyst and everything like that. But when I knew Bob Walk was getting the start, it was like, please God, I will never commit this venial sin again if Bob Walk can get the first batter out. And I don't have to tell Pirate fans, you know it all too well. All right, so Lee May is 1 for 2. Ellis looking to get out of another jam here. Pete Rose just 90 feet away. Sanguillen out to go over the signs with Ellis. 1-1 pitch, and to no avail, as Lee May is going to ground this one. Hard liner, actually, up the middle. RBI single, as Pete Rose will come in to score. 2-0 now in favor of the Reds. All right, here's Tony Perez, RBI double and walk. So been on the base paths twice. Lee May at first, Jimmy Stewart at third. Ellis works out of the stretch. Full count, base hit into left. Pirate fans, how long are we going to do this? As Stewart comes in to score 3-0. And I don't think Richie made a poor play here. Reds are making solid contact here off of Doc Ellis. We're going to make a mound visit. Ellis is strong. Let's see. When does he come up? Oh man. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna reward Ellis for getting out of that jam back in the third inning. We're gonna allow him to face Bernie Carbo. So Carbo seeing Ellis pretty well today. He's drawn 2 walks. 0-2 pitch, high fly ball to right, and Roberto Clemente has it. But Cincinnati Reds, pardon me, 2 runs, 4 hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Let's get to work, buccos. 3-0. Pittsburgh managing just 2 hits off of Ross Grimsley thus far in 3 innings. Willie Stargell, Bob Robertson, Richie Hebner, due up. Willie walked back in the second. And Willie Stargell today drawing the walks, baby. All right, Bob Robertson. Come on, Bob. Pay us back for the love that we've been talking about. Grounded to third that forced Stargell at second last time up. 2-0 pitch, and Bob Robertson comes through. So a nice little lacer into left. 2-1 for the Bucks. Nobody down for Richie Hebner. Hebner nothing for 1. Lined it out to center back in the second. Grimsley deals. Stewart will go to Concepcion on to May, and that will be your basic 4-6-3 double play. On the play, Stargell moves to third. Al Oliver now settles in. The lefty struck out last time. Lefty-lefty matchup. Grimsley works. 1-1 pitch. Open the window, Aunt Minnie. The Buccos are back in this one. Style. 386-foot shot. Touch them all, Al Oliver, and the Buccos now narrow it, and it's 3-2. All right, Gene Alley with a whiff back in the third. Grimsley rubbing up the ball as he has the new one. Deals. 1-2 pitch, and Gene Alley chased a fastball out of the strike zone, but our Pirates, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, 4 complete here at Three River Stadium. The Reds lead the Pirates 3-2 here in 1971. Johnny Bench, George Foster, Dave Concepcion due here in the visitors' half of inning number 5. So keeping Bench's bat quiet. He's lined to short and popped to first. We're going to allow Doc to stay in there as he'll be leading off the bottom of the 5th inning. So let's see if we can get 3 more outs out of Doc Ellis. 2-2 pitch, and okay, maybe some newfound fortitude there from the good doctor as he strikes out Mr. Bench. George Foster, nothing for 2. Struck out twice. Struck out 3 times. Look at Doc Ellis. All right. Can he get the trifecta? Dave Concepcion has flied out twice. The pitch. We'll take it. Grounder to alley, but no, Concepcion, too much speed, gets down the line. So no 1-2-3 for Doc. And Concepcion, a threat to steal as Ross Grimsley steps in there, 1 for 2. Not a sure out. 2-2 pitch. And this was just a little number to first. Bob Robertson will backpedal and take it to the bag himself. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors. And we've played 4.5. It's 3-2. And Doc, we got to take you out now, though, bud. Good inning, but all right, what do we got here? So I'm hesitant to bring in Gene Kleins just yet. I'd like to save Kleins for a little later in the game. Maz has a pretty good hit percentage here against Grimsley. So I mean, I think you need Kleins because you need that. You need that. Let's go with Bill Mazeroski, I think. Yeah. Because we have some room to play in the infield anyhow. So if we just use Maz as a pinch hitter and he sits, no worries. Mazeroski hitting .314 with 2 runs batted in. All right, here we go. Maz in the box. Maz, we're looking for some 1960 heroics here, if you would be so kind. 1-1 pitch, deep fly to center field. Foster leaps and makes the grab in center. So, sorry, he gave it a ride. Back at the top of the order, Rennie Stennett is 1 for 2, singled back in the 3rd. Bench sets, Grimsley deals, and strike 3 called. Rennie Stennett grabs some pine, 2 down here for Roberto Clemente. Big single to center back in the 3rd. It didn't quite produce anything after that, but clutch still. And Clemente is going to come through again. Base hit. Rose gets it into Stewart. So the Buccos once again in a 2-out situation and a duck on the pond. Sanguillen, nothing for 2. 1-2 pitch, and Manny comes through. Hard line drive, and Clemente turns on the jet. Close play at third base. Perez with the tag, but Roberto in there. Runners at the corners. And here once again is Wilver Dornell Stargell, who has drawn 2 walks in this game. Stargell with that great kind of rotary windmill type thing with the bat. Winding up. Ross Grimsley knows the power of the guy he's facing. Peers in. Johnny Bench with the signs. Grimsley shaking off Bench. Now he has a side that he likes. Works out of the stretch. 2-0 pitch. Willie Stargell liner. But Pete Rose diving catch out there in right field. The Buccos are not following Wee Willie Keeler's advice. They are not hitting them where they ain't. They seem to be hitting them where they are. We're going to let the computer pick our reliever. And here's Pete Rose. He is 1 for 3. We're back at the top of the order for Cincinnati. Singled his last time up. And Nellie Briles on there. And quickly grounder to Stennett onto Robertson. So 1 up, 1 down. Jimmy Stewart, good day at the plate for him with 2 singles. 2 for 3. Nellie Briles, man, caused all kinds of rain delays when he was pitching for the Bucks. Full count, fly ball deep to center field. Al Oliver has it just short of the track. 2 away for Lee May now. RBI single back in the fourth. And Lee May draws the walk. So Nelly Bryles giving up the free pass. Perez a perfect 2 for 2 today. And a walk. And 2 RBI in this game. Bryles deals. And beautiful pitch on the outside corner. Nice fastball issued there by Mr. Bryles. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Still a 3-2 ball game. Bob Robertson, Richie Hebner, Al Oliver due up for the Buccaneers. Let's go Bucks. Let's go Bucks. Let's get the chant going, man. Robertson singled his last time up. Ross Grimsley at 71 pitches right now. 1-2 pitch. Bob Robertson looks at a called strike 3. So fastball. Grimsley mixing it up pretty nicely today, but making great use of the bender. Richie is nothing for 2. Grounded into a double play last time up. Grimsley, full count, and Hebner looks at this one. Fastball in the outside corner. So Grimsley has definitely established the strike zone here as we are in the bottom of the 6th inning. And here is Al Oliver. Big 2-run homer back in the 4th to bring the Buccos back to within 1. 2-0 pitch up the middle, but Sammy Stewart to his right and a barehanded throw to first. And the Buccos once again allow an opportunity to go by the board. We go to the top of the 7th here at Three Rivers Stadium. The Reds lead the Bucks 3-2 in this exhibition game. Bernie Carbo, Johnny Bench, and George Foster. Bryles stays on a relief 1-0 pitch. Tapper back to the mound. Bryles has it and feeds it on to Bob Robertson. 1-3 put out, 1 up, 1 down. Johnny Bench, nothing, 4-3. 1-2 pitch, Johnny Bench, nothing for 4. Looking at that one, in at the belt, called third strike. Nice fastball there by Bryles. Little off speed, 88 on the gun. George Foster has whiffed 3 times today. Bryles, 2-0 pitch, grounded deep to third. Hebner fighting it off, gets a handle on it, and gets to Bob Robertson. 7th inning stretch time at Three Rivers Stadium, and the Reds lead the Pirates 3-2. I'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Appreciate it here on a Sunday, an early Sunday afternoon. We're by request we're playing the Reds and the Bucks. Dan's got it going on. He says, "Let's go Bucks, let's go Bucks, let's go Bucks." Absolutely. So, oh, I see. So Wayne was calling for Dave Cash in that pinch hitter situation. I was kind of, I just know I didn't want to go to Klein's yet. Truth Hurts Wokey, welcome in, my friend. He says, believes that Bill Madlock should be a lock. Yeah. 4 batting titles, lifetime average is 305. Andrew Jones has a 255. I know. And Madlock are pretty capable at the hot corner. I know, man. Madlock. Yeah, I share the same opinion to you, Wayne. I like that. I think the 71 Pirates are better. Not knocking. We are family. You know, you gotta love Parker. You gotta love Omar Moreno. You know, the Candyman, whatever. But the 71 Pirates, I think, were such a special club. If only for having Blas, Clemente, and Stargell on the same squad. So you got Bernie Carbo's autograph in one of your old baseball programs, and you also have Pat Corrales and Jim Merritt. Cool. Arky Vaughn. So Arky Vaughn is criminally overlooked. This guy, um, I mean, he's tutored by Hannes Wagner. He is considered one of the greatest shortstops in baseball history, full stop. So, yeah. And I missed these. I'm sorry, guys. I can see now I had some weird something going on with the comments. And I see you guys wanted to switch the lineups. I'm sorry I didn't see these. So, Dwayne way back a half hour ago says if the Pirates didn't trade Sid Bream, we may have won. Probably. And if Barry Bonds would have heeded the advice of the much better fielder Andy Van Slyke. So sorry, guys, I missed some of your comments. I hate when that happens. Because I'm looking, and the last thing I saw was from Dan um, way back when he said, I thought we would never win again. And that was 42 minutes ago. So sorry, guys. I'm not ignoring you. This pop-out feature on EVMUX is bizarre. And it's showing another comment that apparently I've missed. But let's pop them out again. Pop them out again. So fix this, guys. Fix it. All right. Gene Alley. Gene Alley 0 for 2. Let's see. Let me see. We got to see. So it might be that we pinch hit now for Gene Alley and we bring in Jackie Hernandez to play short. Bucco fans, what say you? Now we just got to find a pinch hitter. I think it's time to bring in Gene Kleins. So I think we bring in Kleins and then we go with Jackie Hernandez at short. Let's see what the Bucco cognoscente says. So Wayne says yes. Alex, I agree. I'm glad he's in the Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Fame, and he was a fine second baseman, but he's not Cooperstown. I agree. And I know Dwayne may not agree with this, but Phil Rizzuto also does not belong in the Hall of Fame. Very much a player, I think, like Mazeroski, but not when you look at that and Dwayne is a huge Yankees fan. Rizzuto benefited from Maris and Mantle and Berra. And yeah, he was a fine defensive shortstop, but I mean, there's again, we could have just a fun some night Diamonds and Dice podcast along with Bernie, which we'll be doing tonight at 10 o'clock. We could have a fun one on tonight. All right. Part 1, players in the Hall of Fame you think shouldn't be. And then part 2, probably the easier one, but maybe a little bit more controversial. Players who aren't that should be. So Keith Hernandez stands out immediately, and many, many more. All right, so Gene Kleins is going to come in to pinch hit. We may even do some juggling here with Gino. So Klein's hitting 324 right now with a home run and 5 runs batted in. Ross Grimsley ready to work now. Had to be boring to be a groundskeeper back in these days because you couldn't do the whole infield, man. It was just these little pits here. How stupid. Dwight Evans. Hey, Mark, welcome in. Mark Unger joining us. Yeah, right? Why isn't Dewey in the Hall of Fame? But Andrew Jones is in there, baby. And nothing wrong with Andrew. I mean, he hit a lot of home runs, but I don't know. I can't figure out Cooperstown. Stargell should have won MVP in 71, not 79. And remember, too, that Stargell had to share that MVP that year with Keith Hernandez. Not bad company, but still, come on. Grimsley deals 0-1 pitch, and Gino is going to fly out to his opposite number. All right, and we're gonna hook Bryles here too. We got to do something here, man. Let me see. Oof. All right, you know what? Dave Cash was mentioned earlier in the game. So between Dave Cash and Milt May, Richie Zisk. Oh, you're talking about for pincher. I thought you were just talking Hall of Fame. Like Richie Zisk. No. So here's a cool thing about this game, Dan. So you can of course always manage gut instinct and look back what might have Danny Murtaugh had done, but this game kind of takes some of that guesswork out. This pitcher batter analysis tool works well and will change in game basis, as you can see down here, based on base situation, pitcher's clutch rating, and stuff like that. Showing Richie Zisk with just a 15.6% chance of getting a base hit off of Grimsley in this situation. Whereas Dave Cash, if you're playing the numbers, it's 28.5% chance, right? No for Zisk in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I don't think so. So, all right. Pirate fans, we can either go with this or you guys vote for the for the pinch hitter, and that's who will come in. Except for Rimp Lanier. Let's not mess with Rimp Lanier here, I don't think. All right, you're saying Richie Zisk. All right, you're still seeing it and you're still saying Zisk. Let's bring him in. Let's view his numbers here this year real quickly. There's Richie. Let me see. What's Zisk doing this season? He's hitting 200. Home run and 2 runs batted in. Okay, let's bring him in. I'm good with it. Richie Zisk will come in to pinch hit. All right, nobody aboard. 3-2 your score. Good ball game I think we got going on here. I think the big story for me is the Pirates not capitalizing, although interestingly, Cincinnati has stranded more runners. 3-2 pitch and popped high to third, and Tony Perez makes the grab. All right, so 2 away, and we're back at the top of the order, and Rennie Stennett, and we're going to be putting people all over the damn place. Stennett is 1 for 3. We're going to let Rennie hit for himself. 0-2 pitch, and it didn't matter. We need a shortstop. We need a pitcher. So shortstop, we already know we're going to go to Jackie Hernandez. No, you know what? Well, no. Hernandez is the better defensive shortstop. So Jackie Hernandez is going to get the nod at short. And Kleins is gone. And let's look at our bench. Or I can just let Action just pick it. So not Ramon Hernandez. That's not gonna work, baby. Not yet. So we talked about Bob Miller, but not in the greatest of contexts. But let's bring in Bob Miller. I think. Wait. Let me look at the batting order here. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're good. So let's bring in Bob Miller. That's all right. I was hoping too, Dan. I was hoping. So Wayne says he never uses the hit percentage for feature. No manager ever looked down at the bench and saw percentage. Just use common sense. No, I know. I like it though. I think it's cool. I think it's especially good for roster building. I like it. Sometimes I just don't want to think. I want to say, okay, who's going to get a hit off this guy? All right, let's bring in Bob Miller. This is going to go more baseball superstition because maybe he could do something amazing and we can forget about the wild pitch. Yeah, I love it for roster building and just the what ifs because I can click on any hitter here and see how all this could possibly play out given this situation. But no, your point is well taken. All right, Bob Miller will come on to work. Richie Zisk's day is done. So Bob Miller right now with 3.24 under an average, 2 wins, 1 loss. He has given up a dinger. All right. And here's Dave Concepcion, 1 for 3. And this one lined hard up the middle. That didn't work out too well. Concepcion got his money's worth out of that one. Fastball. All right, here's Ross Grimsley. What will Cincinnati do? Ty Klein draws the walk. Oh, man. Okay, I think I made a bad decision here with Bob Miller. I don't really want him facing Pete Rose. Let's go to the bench here. Not going to matter if we bring Hernandez in because that's going to just turn Pete Rose around. Unfortunately, though, Ramon Hernandez is like our best bet right now. What do you think, Bucco fans? Bob Miller's just, I mean, 2 batters. I'm not liking look, and I'm not doing the 3 batter minimum. That's bull crap. I mean, it's an exhibition game. I can bring in anybody, but I'd rather not bring in starters. Mudcat, no. Thing is, though, if we save Hernandez, and I know like real major league managers don't have the time to really think about this, right? So, damn. I don't want to waste Hernandez because he could work a little bit of setup if we get to that. Percentage definitely better with Jack or with Ramon, absolutely. So I don't know why I was thinking Jackie Hernandez. So he's only worked an inning, but again, this game we're playing it outside of the project, so let's bring him in. Seen enough of Bob Miller. See you, Bob. Maybe another time. All right, so Pete Rose is going to switch you around. Mark, thank you for coming in. You have a grand day yourself, man. Looking forward to the documentary. 0-1 pitch, fly ball. And there we go. Stented out. Oliver in, calls off Stennet and makes the catch. 1 down. Doesn't mean I'm a baseball genius. That's just 1 out. So here's Jimmy Stewart having a good day. 2 for 4, 2 on for the Reds here in the top of the 8th. Hernandez deals. There we go. Base hit, and they're going to stop Concepcion at third. And hit number 3 for Jimmy Stewart. And here's Lee May. We're gonna have to stick with Ramon Hernandez. RBI single back in the 4th. Lee May seeing the ball really, really well today, and 17 home runs in this project. Ramon out of the stretch, 1-2 pitch. This will score a run. Stargell makes the grab, tagging and walking home to score. Is Dave Concepcion 4-2 Cincinnati, and Ty Klein over here will make it to third. Runners at the corners for Cincinnati, 2 down for Tony Perez. RBI single back in the 4th, struck out in the 6th. 2 for 3 today. And base hit up the middle. Ty Klein will come in to score. RBI single for Tony Perez. Bernie Carbo, nothing for 2. It's now a 5-2 Cincinnati lead. Game getting away from the Buccos. 2-2 pitch. Oh, my God. RBI, and now they're feasting. And the computer says, yeah, that's it. We're bringing in Bob Veal. Ugats, it says. Ugats. Right, Alex? Ugats. All right. Ugats and Stugats. Johnny Bench, nothing for 4. Come on, Bob Veal. Let's get this guy. And he does. But the damage has been done. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors, thanks to the idiot decisions I made. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cincinnati leads Pittsburgh 6-2. But the good news is we got Roberto Clemente, Manny Sanguin, and Willie Stargell due up. Clemente in the game, 2 for 3, 2 singles. And we'll go over Wilcox here in a minute as Roberto Clemente will pick up another single. Milt Wilcox coming on to pitch now. So Grimsley pitched a hell of a game. Grim Dawn. Somebody is playing Grim Dawn. Great game, by the way. Pittsburgh held to just 2 runs, and that 2-run shot back in the 4th by Al Oliver. And here's Manny Sanguillen, 1 for 3, singled last time up. Come on, Sangi, get something in play that Clemente can rip around the bases. 1-1 pitch, that's not it. Stewart to Concepcion de May, and another damn double play. So 2 away, Milt Wilcox able to get that one done quickly. And here's Willie Stargell, nothing for 1. 3-1 pitch to Stargell, Stewart to May. That does it for the Bucco 8th. We go to the 9th, and we're going to allow Bob Veal to stay in there, and he will face George Foster, who's whiffed 3 times today and grounded out his last time up. Foster, Concepcion, and I'm guessing they're going to allow Wilcox to stay in there with a 4-run lead. 2-0 pitch. Oh, my God. Bob Veal giving up a base hit, and he's tired. Oh, Manaj. Oh, man. I don't want to waste Dave Justy, man. He have memory eternal. Mudcat Grant. Come on, Mudcat. All right, here's Concepcion, 2 for 4. And so Pirate pitching stinking up the joint here, man. More polluted than the Allegheny River or the Monongahela. I just wanted to say Mon River and couldn't get it out. All right, Milt Wilcox. Nope. McRae pinch hits. Skied into foul territory, third base side. And thank you, Mr. McRae, for that. So 1 down, 2 on. Pete Rose, 1 for 5. When we go to the bottom of the 9th for the Pittsburgh Pirates, it'll be Bob Robertson, Richie Hebner, and Al Oliver. Grant deals 0-2 pitch. Oh, Stennett juggles the ball. Should have been a 4-3 putout. Ouch. But instead, Cincinnati has the bases loaded, and Jimmy Stewart with 3 hits today at the dish. Foster at third, Concepcion at second, Rose at first. From the stretch, Mudcat Grant brings it home. 3-2 pitch. Stennett to Hernandez. They're not going to turn the 2, and another run comes in to score in the personage of George Foster. 7-2 Cincinnati. The lady with a little bit of extra lipid tissue now working in the Dorian mode, soon to go on to the Lydian mode as she warms up the pipes. Lee May, 2 for 3. Runners at the quarters. Mudcat Grant from the stretch. Wait, Sanguillen out to have a word. 0-1 pitch. I don't know what he said to him, but Dave Concepcion comes in RBI single for Lee May. 8-2. Ay de mi. Tony Perez, 3 for 4. Come on, let's get the third out, guys. 0-2 pitch popped up the chute behind the plate. Sanguillen has it finally for out number 3, but 2 more runs, 2 hits, 1 error. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and the Bucks have a lot of work to do. Jim Merritt stays on the mound. Bob Robertson leading it off here, 1 for 3. 2-0 pitch. Bob Robertson will open the festivities here in the bottom of the 9th with a base hit. Solidly stroked to left past Tony Perez. Richie, nothing for 3. Yup. We're going to, I think, yeah, we've been avoiding Dave Cash. Now, normally in this situation, I'm kind of like in Milt May in there. But let's get Cash. So let me see. Yeah. So Cash, percentage points better in batting average. We got to get runners on. So we're going to bring in Dave Cash. Cash hitting .372 in this project with 2 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Let's see what we got. Do I want a pinch run for Robertson? Avinroot, how you doing? Do I have any contact info? You don't see any on my channel. Oh, I don't put it out there. Are you in our Discord? Best way to reach me is through Discord. And let me, do I still have it? And nope, I don't. I'll put it in the Discord here in a moment. And that's the best way to reach me, my friend. So great. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope you're well. All right. The Discord is called the Ned McGreevy League. So if you can't find it, let me know. We're in the bottom of the ninth. I'll be able to get that to you quickly. You're welcome. All right. Here we go. Dave Cash. We've been waiting on Dave Cash. All right. Getting the mojo going here. Getting the mojo going for Dave Cash. Let's do this. 2-0 pitch. Look at that up the middle, baby. Bob Robertson tears around to third. All right. Dave Cash looking up here at the broadcast booth and saying Bob Prince would have known to put me in earlier and would have tried to tell Danny Murtaugh to do the same thing. All right, so Al Oliver had a 2-run shot back in the fourth. Hope springs eternal, as Ernest Thayer wrote, and Casey at the bat. I would rather Al Oliver do Casey's revenge, though. All right, runners at the corners for the Bucks. Merritt from the stretch, 1-2 pitch. And Al Oliver, big cut and a miss. All right, Jackie Hernandez. I'm just, why not, man? You got to go. You got to do what you got to do. You got to do what you got to do. It's Milt May time. No, it's Vic Davalillo time. Vic Davalillo. All right. Davalillo hitting 273, a home run, 11 runs batted in. Stay out of the 2-ball, Vic. 1-2 pitch, fly ball, right field. Rose has it measured. Tagging and holding is Bob Robertson, and we are down to Mudcat Grant, who will not, of course, do that. Finally, Milt May. This is going to be funny. It's going to be funny. Here's Milt May. Here we go. 1-2 pitch. May skies it to left. That's your ball game. We live to fight another day. We won't get a recap on this game because we're playing it outside the project. Cincinnati Reds defeat the Pittsburgh Pirates 8-2. 8 runs, 15 hits, no errors for the Pirates. 2 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, Al Oliver 1 for 4 with that 2-run shot. Roberto Clemente 3 for 4 for the Reds. Lee May 3 for 4, 3 RBI. Tony Perez 3 for 5 and 3 RBI. And Jimmy Stewart 3 for 6. I'm glad this game didn't count because the Pirates have the best record in baseball in this project. So look at what we did. Did we not hit? We hit that bullpen hard, huh? 5 relievers and nobody could get it done. Only 1 home run in this game, and that was hit by Al Oliver. But just Cincinnati just chipping away. We knew it was over in the 8th. So there we go. We will get back to actually playing this project. And so the next game, there we go. So we have a double header that will be coming up here between the Orioles and the White Sox. Both teams are in contention. Game 1 is going to be Jim Palmer versus Tommy John. And Tommy John right now with an excellent 1.73 earned run average. Game 2, Joe Hortland's going to making his first start, and he'll be facing Dave McNally. So we may do that tonight, right after the Diamonds and Dice podcast. So that's what's next in 1971. We will continue 1974. I don't know if Avonwood is still here, so let me get the Discord invite, and please, friend me up there, man. Please. And friend us all up. If you will. Ned McGreevy League invite to server. There it is. And copy this bad boy. Okay. And boom. And spring out the comments. Yeah. Click to bring them back. Bring back those comments. Oh, okay. You're here. And boom. There you go, bud. We got you. So fun. Oh my God. So I just realized I had Jack Dawson up here all the time since the beginning of the game. How did I do that? Jack, there you had special. That's why the little red light was on. Okay. Anyhow, brother Jack Dawson, usually the first one in the ballpark, so all good. So if you watch the 1904 thing that we're doing last night, that game was insane. Home runs all over the place. And only one sort of more dead ball home run by Jimmy Collins. So that one, New York Giants, Boston Americans. So we'll probably be revisiting that tomorrow, maybe tomorrow afternoon, just to shake things up. Thanks everybody for showing up, and I hope that you had fun today. I know I certainly did. Always do, just hanging out, talking with you guys. To me, that's more important than the game is a familia. So I've got to go off and start practicing some magic, sleight of hand magic, and actually get some breakfast. I've been up for 4 hours, but I've been in a baseball jag today. So until this evening, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, 9 Central, and 8 Mountain. Mountain Time always gets screwed over, so let's remember Mountain Time, right? Please join Bernie Strom and I for the Diamonds and Dice podcast. Tonight we're talking about Great Expectations. And until then, guys, take care. Have a wonderful Sunday, and see you tonight and around the batting cage.